and Order 64.3 is clear that quorum can be raised at any time. And Mr. Speaker, for Hansard, when you were adjourning, you said the table office had counted, and we were 71. You made that announcement, and for that matter, you are adjourning the House. So it must not be in our record because of his assumption that we had 92 people marked present when you had directed clerk to count, and we were 71 at the time that we were adjourning. So we adjourned because we did not have the numbers. We adjourned because your super 83 vanished, and you were just about 1830. So that is what is on our record, and that was your direction, and that was exactly what you said, Mr. Speaker. So he needs to be guided. Mr. Speaker, also to advise him that you've just been a majority whip about 3 weeks now. So when I'm talking, I'm your senior in leadership. Sit down, let me finish. I've been here over 4 years, so you sit down on the front bench. He should sit down. I've been your leader over 4 years now. You've just been 3 weeks. So you should be able to learn and be guided on the procedure we use. But you cannot assume that, even Mr. Speaker, we have not even approved this.
Order.
We have not approved this. And for that matter, you cannot even refer to it because it has not been adopted. The vote and proceedings on Friday has not even been adopted. He said,
Honorable Deputy,
it has not been adopted. So
are you on point of order? Please.
Speaker, first of all,
Honorable Deputy Whip, you are on your feet.
Speaker, first of all, my brother Habib failed to listen to me carefully. My prayer to you. My prayer to you was to seek your guidance in respect of the two records, because this is also a matter for the record of the House. That on Friday, 192 members of Parliament attended upon the House. That is the record. Now he makes the point that at the time he raised the issue of quorum, yes, but my prayer at the time was that because two committees were sitting, members were attending upon those committees. So we're praying for those members to be permitted to attend. Listen to me praying you that we needed a guide on this matter. Then number two, I am senior to you in this House. So with all due respect, I'm senior to you in this House. So
present on the vote and proceedings, and assume that that was the number present. You cited Order 64.3, and Order 64.3 is clear that quorum can be raised at any time. And Mr. Speaker, for Hansard, when you were adjourning, you said the table office had counted, and we were 71. You made adjourning the House. So it must not be in our record because of his assumption that we had 92 people marked present when you had directed clerk to count, and we were 71 at the time that we were adjourning. So we adjourned because we did not have the numbers. We adjourned because your super 83 vanished, and you were just about 1830. So that is what is on our record, and that was your direction, and that was exactly what you said, Mr. Speaker. So he needs to be guided. Mr. Speaker, also to advise him that you've just been a majority whip about 3 weeks now. So when I'm talking, I'm your senior in leadership. Sit down, let me finish. I've been here over 4 years, so you sit down on the front bench. He should sit down. I've been your leader over 4 years now. You've just been 3 weeks. So you should be able to learn and be guided on the procedure we use. But you cannot assume that, even Mr. Speaker, we have not even approved this.
Order.
We have not approved this. And for that matter, you cannot even refer to it because it has not been adopted. The vote and proceedings on Friday has not even been adopted. He said,
Honorable Deputy,
it has not been adopted. So
are you on point of order? Please.
Speaker, first of all,
Honorable Deputy Whip, you are on your feet.
Speaker, first of all, my brother Habib failed to listen to me carefully. My prayer to you. My prayer to you was to seek your guidance in respect of the two records, because this is also a matter for the record of the House. That on Friday, 192 members of Parliament attended upon the House. That is the record. Now he makes the point that at the time he raised the issue of quorum, yes, but my prayer at the time was that because two committees were sitting, members were attending upon those committees. So we're praying for those members to be permitted to attend. Listen to me praying you that we needed a guide on this matter. Then number two, I am senior to you in this House. So with all due respect, I'm senior to you in this House. So we extend all due respect. We are brothers.
If you permit me, I read that portion. When I had the privilege of being the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, this is a minor correction. There should be S after risk. Then my last observation is on column 82, and Reverend John Tim Fojo, the first paragraph, the last word should be for and not for, because it reads, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye and Mr. Anthony Mia respect for bringing this matter to the fore and not to the fall.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntim. Thank you very much, Honorable Ntim Fojo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Column 83.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntim Fojo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Column 83.
Good handwriting. When you look at the writing, he said I should follow him. So I followed him. Not knowing the man was an ex-serviceman. He started running, so I have to follow him run into his office. Okay. They gave me a very big book to write certain things on it. I wrote till I finished writing. Not knowing he was comparing, he comes from Scotland. Okay. He was comparing if it is I who wrote that application. You get it? So he got to know that I wrote it. Then he said, okay, I should go and come.
Made available a pickup to enable the health directorate continue with its education and supported them with some funds for their activities. Mr. Speaker, this is not enough. The central government must immediately intervene to save lives. The people are suffering. We also need additional supporting staff to be deployed to Winneba. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Health must direct other health professionals to support the directorate to enable them contain this unfortunate outbreak. Mr. Speaker, without more, I would want to rest my case and call on the Minister of Health that within a week he should come to this House to brief this House on efforts made thus far. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I proceed to take contributions from honorable members. Honorable Kweku Riget Hagan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for the honorable minority leader for making this very important statement, which is not only affecting the Futu, but actually the whole of Central Region at the moment. And I know that a lot of effort is being made. It is cholera we are talking about, which is obviously affecting the people of Central Region. Mr. Speaker, some of the issues are actually to do with sanitation, which not only the health minister, but I expect that the minister who is responsible for sanitation now will also move in there and find out exactly what is going on. I know the doctors are working around the clock, but as cholera is, it's usually ahead of the attempt to try and curb it. And I'm very happy that my honorable brother has made this statement, which is seriously affecting the Central Region. I think last week we were talking about meningitis here, and I know a lot has been done about that. But now the Central Region is actually suffering from this cholera outbreak. And I hope that all the institutions, the health, move down there to make sure that the issue is actually brought under control. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable Patrick Yabwama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make these brief comments on the statement ably made by the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious public health issue, a very serious one as such. And in 2014, cholera took the lives of more than 200 of our citizens, Mr. Speaker. So if this issue is cropping up again, then we require of the Minister of Health to appear before the House to brief the good people of this country on the steps that he's taking to curb the rise of this issue. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, CSM is also on the increase, and it's taking some lives. And I believe that it is very, very important for the health minister to appear before the House before the end of this week to brief and update Ghanaians on the steps being taken by government on this very important matter. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Dr. Sandari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement on cholera outbreak ably made by the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, it is absolutely unacceptable for any district, any community, in fact, for any country to record a case of cholera. And that's why even one case of cholera is considered an epidemic because of the importance and the severity of it. If we recall, this cholera outbreak started somewhere in October 2024, around Ada, and the inability of us as a country, our health system, to contain one case can lead to the spread of that one case to other parts of the country. And that is why today the outbreak is serious in Ifutu. Not just that place. Records show that about more than half of the districts in Central Region have been recording cholera cases. Mr. Speaker, we have to do something. Our health system must be able to respond to this outbreak and contain the disease. It has the potential to spread to all the regions in this country. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the professor I and my colleagues microbiologists said, a case of cholera simply means that you have eaten somebody's feces, simple. That is a summary of it. You have eaten somebody's fecal matter, either through the water that you drink, through the food that you eat. You have just eaten somebody's fecal matter. And that's why I started by saying it is unacceptable, because you don't only measure the economic status or how developed a country is by economic indicators. These epidemic outbreaks, cholera, typhoid, all go to measure whether indeed we're a developed country or we are beginning to develop. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I support the maker of the statement that the Ministry of Health must come, to educate us or to show how well they are fighting this outbreak of cholera and other epidemic conditions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I call on Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, just to commend my leader for show of leadership to the people of the Futu, the prompt response. However, just a few observations. First of all, if we recall, last week, the Honorable Dr. Sandari had raised a matter on meningitis. And I also recollect when the Chief Whip presented the business statement, I nudged him that the outbreak of cholera, unverified report had it that it's spreading within about 5 regions. So I drew his attention. Earlier on, Speaker, per your wisdom, you had given some consequential directives that the Ghana Health Service should attend upon the House. And I'm told that they were billed to appear tomorrow. Speaker, may I humbly suggest or request of you, if you may, vary your earlier orders, that instead of the Ghana Health Service appearing, because as at that time, we had to fall on the Ghana Health Service because the minister had not been sworn in. Now the minister has been sworn in. Yeah, so the minister has been sworn in. So the proper thing to do is that we should get the sector minister to come here. It has to be ASAP. Tomorrow will not be out of place. And then I'm also hearing that the Minister for Local Government could also be added, since the index of sanitation concerns are also in there, which cannot be glossed over. So it has to be as soon as possible. And Doc, I couldn't have agreed more with you when you said that it is totally unacceptable in this time and age. Some time back, the concern has been availability of vaccines. I think now it's not the case. It's not the case. But if it is, we need to hear from the sector minister and then we can position ourselves, this House can position itself in terms of action lines going forward. But it's a sad story. It's a sad story in this time and age. This thing shouldn't be happening to our country. And I hope, Speaker, you accede to my call that the Honorable Akando be programmed tomorrow, or we can notify him today, and then the next day he can appear duly to speak to this. It's sad. At this time and age, cholera is killing lives, and CSM has already killed 14 lives, as I'm told, as of last week. But let me commend the Ghana Health Service, though. We are told there is distribution of free vaccines and vaccination, and the people there, as we do know, poverty levels are quite grinding over there. People are not made to pay for the vaccine, which I think is good. If it could be sustained, it will go a long way to curb the menace. Speaker, I thank you, and I commend our leader for the show of leadership, but particularly we need the minister on this matter. I thank you.
Honorable Gisela Tete.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also commend the maker of the brief statement, Honorable Afenyo-Makin, for this. Mr. Speaker, somewhere last year in November 2024, my constituency, Awutu Senya West, also had a cholera outbreak. Now, one thing I observed was the rapid response of the district health system. They quickly formed a platform called Cholera Rapid Response Team and put me on it as well. Parliament. I was watching every day. They were having Zoom meetings, the PowerPoint presentations to see the traceability and all. I also was privy to that, and it kept me informed. So I also likewise told my communicators that when you go onto the community radio or information centers, tell people that there's cholera around. And when I was doing the campaign too, by the time I'm done talking to, I also tell them the same thing. Because sometimes people have to be reminded, and maybe they may not take it that serious. I said, please just try and eat hot food. That's the simplest solution to this. I have somebody in Winneba now, a friend, who called me and said, Madam, I'm in hospital. What is it? Because sometimes we refer cases from Awutu Senya West to Winneba. I had cholera. I said, oh, how come? What did you eat? That was the first question I asked him. He said, I had a millet drink. That brought to mind the issue of food safety. So much as I support what Dr. Sandari said, there are a lot of food vendors. We all have them. I'd plead with my colleagues that let us be proactive also, and let's do some education on the food vendors. It could be the water they are using to make their food. It could be the environment. It could be just something small that they have been doing as a routine, but this time it got caught. So my plea is that as colleagues over here, use your community radio, use the information centers. We lost 3 people, 3 of my citizens in the constituency, a child and 2 adults, which was very unfortunate. But at least I will commend the district health team and the district health director that they took some steps and they kept me involved and informed. So I also added my weight to it. I had to give them fuel and a few other things that they needed. So I would plead with anybody here, those of us from the central region, where this cholera epidemic is happening. It can actually be anywhere at all because of the mode of transmission. So my plea is, please get onto community radio and information centers and tell our citizens that this is what is happening. Even if the minister comes here to come and give a rundown or edition of what exactly they are doing, we also have to see in our own backyards and help our district health directorates to get certain things sorted. It may be some logistics which we can help with, or otherwise. Please, time is of essence because people's lives are at stake here. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I proceed to give the floor to Haji Aladi Ayamba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Don't worry, it will come there. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the statement ably made by the leader on the other side. Mr. Speaker, I think the issue of cholera has always come to our attention. But there are so many questions and so many activities that need to be undertaken. There is the need for education, especially in the various communities. And those who would have to undertake this education are the health personalities or persons. How will they get there? They need a lot of support. And just as my colleague, Honorable Gisela, has just mentioned, sometimes it's not their fault that they don't go to the communities. Means of transport is number one. Sometimes, and when there is means of transport, lack of fuel. We need to give them that support. We need to also look at the budget of the Ministry of Health so that at least the contingency should be in such a way that they will be able to come out and support the health sector to handle issues that come up without any questioning. In the villages, someone will say, you say it's a matter of maybe someone who would have eaten fecal matter. How? How come it that am I a fool? No. There are so many things that lead to it. Insects, flies. Many people even do not think of washing their hands properly before they go and touch food. I was so sad somewhere last week when I heard a woman was being interviewed in the Upper West. She had lost 2 of her children just in a matter of some 2-3 hours. And the other one was lying there, and you could see that it's a very young woman. Meanwhile, she had no way of even going to the hospital. She's, according to her, when she was narrating, to even get money to go to the hospital was a problem. And I think that the intervention of the health directors who quickly went to her aid and even went to the hospital there was very, very helpful. But then, we as a nation, we need to continue to give education on the issue of even water that is being used for the planting of vegetables, lettuce and other things. I watched another documentary where fecal water, that chemical, all other things, and they were using it to water plants. Now, most of these, especially the lettuce, we go in, we say, oh, I want salad. And the thing is not treated. The salad is not treated. It's not properly washed. The vegetable, it has already, I mean, you don't just see that there is a problem because you think that you are eating the right and you need vegetables. But what it would have come out with to come to that very restaurant and to your table is what you do not know. We need to give that education to our people. And I will also plead with us all that we shouldn't look at it that once it's in the central region, it cannot get to the Upper East. Our surroundings, the cleaning of our environment, when we use the washrooms, and for that matter, let me just say the toilets, and then we get back the children themselves, teach them how to wash their hands. Because for them, when they even go to toilet and there's nobody around, Mr. Speaker, let me make this point clear, they may even go and take food and begin eating without washing their hands. And it leads to a lot. So, Mr. Speaker, I really appreciate the maker of the statement, and I hope that we are able to curtail this menace that has come, and that it shouldn't escalate to other communities or other regions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honourable members, in view of the fact that we have 4 other statements, can we bring contribution to this particular statement to an end? Leadership.
Speaker, I agree with you. Speaker, let me went up on this one by saying that indeed, last year, the cholera outbreak began last year. In October, 5 regions were announced to have suffered this: Western, Central, Greater Accra, and the rest. And between December 9th and 29th, over 35 persons had died, and over 4,800 cases had been reported. So it's very important that I join my minority whip in saying that in getting the Minister for Health to come address the House on meningitis and the other matters, he should also prepare and address the House on the cholera outbreak and the steps the ministry has been taking since last year to deal with the matter, so that the outbreaks which has entered this year can be curtailed. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I direct the minister responsible for health to appear before the House within 1 week to brief the House on all the health issues on the floor.
Speaker,
I so direct.
I just contacted the minister. He's on the field in monitoring the situation, so he'll be here on the 18th if the House would.
I have taken all those things into consideration in asking that he should appear before us within 1 week.
1 week, very well. Yes. We are guided.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members, we have students from some educational institutions visiting the House. They are from the following schools: All Nations University, led by Dr. Priscilla Bempa, a lecturer. They are from New Joburg South. They are 48 in numbers. We also have students from Kwame Danso Senior High School, led by Owusu Dankwa Achiampong, a teacher, and they are from Sene West, 75 in number. Honorable members, on behalf of the House and on my own behalf, I wish our dear students a fruitful visit to the House. Honorable members, we have admitted a statement in the name of Honorable Rita Na Odole Soa, MP for Dadekotopong constituency, on the International Day of Women and Girls. Honorable Rita Na Odole, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to commemorate the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, a day that highlights the need for gender equality in the fields of science, technology, and mathematics, STEM. Last year, in this August House, I highlighted the critical role of women in STEM and the persistent barriers hindering their full participation. Today, I reaffirm our commitment to breaking these barriers and empower women and girls in science. Ghana has made notable strides in promoting gender inclusivity in science. We celebrate outstanding women such as our very own Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa, MP for Esikado Ketan, who has made remarkable contributions to medicine and public health. As a double board certified surgeon with expertise in trauma and reconstructive surgery,
She has dedicated her career to saving lives both in Ghana and abroad. She is the founder of Healing Hands organization, which provides free medical care to underserved communities. Additionally, she has made history as a parliamentarian and continues to advocate for improved health care policies. Mr. Speaker, we also recognize Dr. Ama Sewa Nekwe Tete, an educationist and policy leader whose advocacy has strengthened STEM education policies in Ghana. As a Deputy Director General at the Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, she has influenced national education reforms and promoted STEM opportunities for young girls. Her work with UNESCO and various educational institutions in ensuring gender inclusivity in science and technology. Additionally, we celebrate our popular maths and science quiz mistress, Professor Elsie Efa Hoffman, a leader in engineering education at the University of Ghana, and many other distinguished female scientists who continue to inspire future generations. However, Mr. Speaker, despite these remarkable achievements, women remain significantly underrepresented in STEM. According to the 2024 Ghana Statistical Service report, women constitute only 24% of professionals in STEM-related fields, with even lower participation in engineering and computer sciences. The gap is wider in rural areas, where cultural and financial barriers prevent young girls from accessing quality science education. Mr. Speaker, we cannot afford to leave half of our population behind in this rapidly advancing technological era. I therefore call on the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation to enhance policies that support STEM education for girls. The government Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics, that's STEM, schools initiative is a commendable step, but we must ensure these efforts reach underserved communities. Mr. Speaker, fostering an interest in science begins at an early age. Research shows that girls are just as capable as boys in mathematics and science. Yet societal stereotypes and a lack of female role models discourage them from pursuing careers in these fields. I urge the Ghana Education Service to integrate mentorship programs into the curriculum, connecting young girls with accomplished women scientists who can inspire and guide them. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, the private sector and academic institutions must actively support women-led research and innovation. Science and technology drive economic growth, and Ghana cannot reach its full potential if we continue to sideline the talents of half of our population. I encourage the establishment of more effective research grants and incubator programs, specifically for female scientists and entrepreneurs. Mr. Speaker, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to empower women and girls in science, ensuring that they are not just participants, but leaders in shaping Ghana's scientific and technological future. A nation that invests in its women invests in progress, and Ghana must lead by example. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I take contribution from the Deputy Minority Whip.
Right. Thank you. Right, Mr. Speaker. Today is the International Women's Day for Science. And I'd like to wish each and everyone in the science faculty, I want to wish them happy anniversary. It's the 10th anniversary for the celebration of girls and women in science. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has made notable strides in science, and I'd like to commend the maker of this statement for taking notice of such commendable actions that have been made by a number of our women who are already in science. And I must say that in Ghana, inclusion of girls and women in science education remains significantly very low. But it is important that we make certain efforts and take to ensure that the challenges that ranges from gender stereotyping, lack of role models, cultural perceptions, financial constraints, and limited mentorship opportunities are made away with. Many young girls, particularly in the rural areas, still face barriers in providing in preventing them from pursuing STEM education. Mr. Speaker, the underrepresentation is a critical challenge that must be addressed if we are to achieve sustainable development goals. Mr. This year, a commitment to do something on skating, unearthing the potential of every girl and woman who inspires to contribute towards the world of science. Mr. Speaker, you agree with me that when we speak about science, it's a way of living, and it is important to break down the barriers of cultural stereotypes, economic constraints, and systemic biases that limit female participation in STEM fields. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, must introduce and implement STEM-friendly curriculum at the primary and secondary level. According to the Ghana Education Service, early exposure is critical in sparking interest and then building competencies in these science among girls and women in our country. Mr. Speaker, the government must expand scholarships opportunities specifically for girls pursuing STEM-related courses at both secondary and tertiary levels. A dedicated STEM scholarship can help alleviate the financial barriers that many young women face. Also, in collaboration with the private industries, be encouraged to show interest in mentorship programs, internships, and research gains that support the generation of female scientists. We need to collaborate and promote the achievement of Ghanaian women in science initiative. The highlights role models can inspire and provide tangible proof that success in STEM will be achievable. Mr. Speaker, there is something that also, those people, whether they are able to their education, he makes sure he takes them in and ensure computers, and also pay for give them some level of scholarships to ensure that they will be able to pursue the science courses very well. I also want to make mention of one Professor Ibok Odro. He is one of the people who have shown, he has been the first dean of the sciences department, the general science department, and he has shown interest by instituting a program which is Total Technology for Girls Initiative, equipping young women with essential skills and then and showing robotics and digital literacy. These are the women that we need within our society to ensure that they can adequately promote the needs of children. I can also name one, Dr. Peggy Otibuati, who is the Director of Science in Africa for the UNESCO and current Director of African Academy of Sciences, who has been instrumental to narrowing the gender gap in STEM through initiatives like Girls in Science Empowerment Initiative. These are the people that we need to celebrate, and we also need more role models to take up, because if we don't identify these role models and showcase them appropriate interest developed by our young girls and our women to ensure that we incorporate science into our way of living, into whatever we do. And I believe that if we are able to do it this year, as we celebrate the 10th anniversary, each and every one over here should sit down and imagine a world where we have scientists in every aspect of our economy, and how these science situates in our way of doing things. I'd like to commend the maker of the statement and add my voice that we should all imagine if we have women in all aspects of our discipline and backing on the approach of adopting science in whatever we do, we will be able to make a good stride in our economic development. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Chumesi, Honorable Chumesi Ampofo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And I also commend the maker of the statement. Mr. Speaker, science and technology is something that is driven the world. Therefore, it's important for us to appreciate and support our lectures, or those are in science. And science and technology is practical. Therefore, our women or ladies need to be encouraged. Mr. Speaker, if you're able to encourage them and they're able to do more, when they finish school, they don't struggle to get jobs. Because nowadays, the world is all about science and technology. Mr. Speaker, we know about science and tech. We can't do away with it. These days, everything is moving with technology. Therefore, we are encouraging our women or ladies to be involved. We need to sponsor them. We need to advise them, give them the hope so that they can be in there. A lot of ladies are afraid of science. But these days, science is moving the world. We should also help our lecturers or lecturers. We should give them the necessary support. We should equip them. We should give them whatever it takes so that they can do more research. Give them money for research, for them to also compete with the world so that they can do more in science and technology to help our ladies. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to go to Cairn University, whereby they do more science. You could see that most of them, or if you go there, there are a lot of programs. Even now, we have a lot of polytechnics or technical universities, also do in science. Most of them comes out without struggling for jobs. Therefore, I think it's important for us to support this science and technology matter. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, thank you very much for the support. And I welcome my students from Kwame Danso. Mr. Speaker, I've learned that 2 of them are sick in the clinic there, so I'm going to take care of them. Thank you very much.
I wish them speedy recovery. Honorable Dr. Samuel.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And let me commend the maker of the statement regarding the International Day for Women and Girls in Science. The theme, as was stated, unpacking STEM careers, her voice in science. Mr. Speaker, in this country, it looks like we have more women than men. But many a times, we tend to have more men in jobs than women after adolescent age. STEM, Mr. Speaker, is like a product that you are selling. How you package it and how you sell it is how it can be bought. And I believe there are many a times when we leave primary education, our women tend to be looking at more female-dominated careers. As such, it informs the kind of program they tend to offer. Mr. Speaker, I think there has to be some consequential measures that we as a country will take. Other than that, it will remain an annual event and we'll make statements and we'll come back 10 years again to the same story. We as a country, Mr. Speaker, I believe we have a STEM policy. How can we make this policy more biased so the parity that we've been able to achieve in our second cycle education, we can achieve same in the STEM careers? Because, Mr. Speaker, every nation is going to do well and be very competitive depending on the number of people they have in STEM education, especially at the tertiary level. And Mr. Speaker, if you also want to talk about good TVET education, that means we need a very grounded system in our STEM education, because a good STEM person can be a good TVET person. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that we shouldn't just make this statement, but we should require the Ministry of Education to give us some measures, some strategic direction that can help us to look at some numbers, some objectives. So in 10 years from now, when we are sitting in this chamber, we can review and go back to see how much we've been able to improve on our STEM education as far as females, our women and girls are concerned. How attractive are we making STEM education to our girls while they are young, and how are we making them attractive to them while they are in second cycle education? Many a times, we tend to have more girls in arts, bias, non-science program. What is informing it? It's because that the basics is not grounded enough, because they say they are not attractive to mathematics, and maybe the language. Mr. Speaker, if we can make it attractive and can make sure that they are all doing well at the primary level, when they get to the second cycle, their willingness to opt for STEM education will be something that will be easy on to do. So, Mr. Speaker, don't let us just make these statements as we commend the maker of the statement, but we need to have some direction as a country, and where do we want to get to, or what kind of level do we want to achieve as a nation as far as parity is concerned when it comes to STEM education. In fact, when a woman is in STEM education, their perfection is such that it cannot be matched by most men. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very critical thing that we have to take note of. And many a times, those within the small towns, we call them the villages, we don't pay attention to them. And that's where a lot of girls also come from. So they don't get the foundation. So it becomes very difficult for them to compete when they get to the second cycle level. So please, let's relook and pay some more attention to those in the small towns so that we can prepare them to be very competitive at the second cycle level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Nawani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. The International Day of Women in Science is set aside to encourage more girls and women to study science and take up jobs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the gender equality that we are talking about is not only limited to the political area, it is taken in the area of science. Mr. Speaker, the theme for this particular year, in other words, we have found out that the women have been left behind. If you take developed countries, like where I studied, in Russia, when it comes to medicine, medicine is a course for women. If you are in a class of 10 students, you have about 7 or 8 of them being women and only 2 males. In Ghana, I believe the system is also approaching like that, where there are a lot of girls now being admitted for the medical course. As I speak, my own 2 daughters are studying medicine in Kolebu and then Konfano.
And to my dear coming, Mapusa and Co. Nano Samna Jadibayi. Dear me trie. Ah, a dear friend, Miss Alcra, Sissimi. Samina Bia and a moto. A dear me. Maybe my one in our crab, Mapusa and one I crab it. Samina in Trevor.
And Yama was in our Casabi.
Nano Samana de Mapusa, we can crab ya kama pusa mapusa centre rumpo
we dey ma okasa nyati me bampo me dru station ma won
wa mama no kran so san for friend ba
we dey ti dem kan me dru station ma twa gusamara bi so me say friend A1 so the meje dey see we dey we ankrofo gu so station no dey we dey be pu agro
pa we dey all crowd be ba we dey be o san be hamad
we dey try ne yan hwe
wait Edian.
A few moments later.
Hey, ene de jade ba de ayo eja wai
me wa ha na me hwe program bi kwa oti
ene jane de mabo aba so na se fe ne sen
be se me du aja so go so an se nya sem
ene aba ta me re we de puka
oni esama na se me hu yanka me to be birom
sike eja de nya pra to dodo na de ye we na to be enu pe ene ka ho no ma nkwa nya utumni ka ho na ya wadwo mo namba ama me na matibia kodwa
ka onsu betimi afre A1 ewa ahomaboafo iso 054 507 4743 054 507 4743 na wonsu so jo ba soap alata seminar after wash parazone na se wo hwehwe A1 na kira kwan a obo asechechere ehonnom A1 asoye na ewo se wutu ana se wo pese wo to ne mako A1 Company Limited abatai yatsi asemde
A1 seminar